Welcome to the second and final episode of Stay or Go, exploring how immigration inspires worry and hope in South Florida. I'm your host, Giancarlo Diago Cevallos, and today we'll be discussing how immigration affects local minds. With recent changes in immigration policy by the current administration, including the attempted removal of the Temporary Protection Status program, South Florida is focused on this issue, being full of immigrant communities. Today we welcome Flora Canaie, a local Venezuelan immigrant. So, first of all, Flora, thanks for being here today and for your interview.
You're welcome.
Could you introduce yourself?
Of course, my name is Flora Canaie. I was born in Venezuela, grown in a country called Trinidad, and now I'm here in the States.
And what is it like living in the States for you? What do you do for work?
Living here for me is not easy, but it's nice. I mean, it's a cool place. I can live for now. What I do for work, I clean houses. There's nothing else I see to do. And, well, having my husband not too well, taking care of him and carrying on.
What are some parts of life in Miami that you enjoy?
Oh, the part of life here in Miami that I enjoy? Okay, let's say it this way. I like the rainy season. I like the cold season. I like going to the beach. I like going to the movies. And I like just being here. That's it. No big deal. I like the green, the grass, and everything around. The trees. Real nice.
So you mentioned that you're from Venezuela and Trinidad, right? Can you
Yes,
say more about how that was?
I was born in Venezuela and then I was grown in Trinidad.
And what was it like being born in Venezuela and growing up in Trinidad?
Well, I can't say much about being when I was born because I left there when I was 3. I went to Trinidad. Trinidad for me is my home because there is where they showed me, they teach me all what I know to today. Venezuela is the place where I was born, of course. I went back there after several years and had to learn the language, which for me was something very hard, but I did it. And I lived there, I got married there, I had my 2 kids there. But then things changed so much in Venezuela that I said, look, get out of this place before you get yourself in trouble. So I left and I came to the USA.
Could you explain what specifically changed in Venezuela that made you decide to leave?
Yeah, people that you thought were friends after the new government came in, which was Mr. Chavez, they just started changing against us or against you or whoever it was, you know. Their ways, a lot of discussion, a lot of fights and things, and I didn't like it. And a person who was, let's say, a friend, he gave me a call one day and said to me, get out. So I said, what do you mean by get out? Get out of the country before you get yourself jailed. I said, what? Okay, well, I took the decision right away because I know what was going on and I knew I was going to get into trouble. So I decided to leave and I left in 2008. And since that, I've been here. Sorry, I haven't seen my son, or at least I haven't touched him for 17, 18 years now I'm here. I have 2 grandchildren there. I have 1 in Spain. And it's not easy, but I have to carry on.
Alright, thank you for your answers. Now we will take a brief pause and be back after a short break. Welcome back to Stay or Go, exploring how immigration inspires worry and hope in South Florida. We've been talking with Flora Canaie about immigration. So, what was the immigration process for you like?
Well, it was no big deal because we had visa to travel here. Through my husband, he had a work visa, and I got his support. So I came in with my younger son, who was underage, under 18, so he had the chance to come in with us. And that lasted until 2014. After that, we were out of paper deals until we got the TPS in 1921. Yeah, 2021. Right? And since then, we are with the TPS, and here we are struggling with that and hoping that everything works out real good for us. Because I wouldn't like going back to Venezuela now to live.
You've mentioned your husband a few times. Could you tell
Yeah.
more about him?
Well, he's a broadcaster. He's a novel. How do you say that? Story writer. He was a promoter of boxers. He was the manager also of boxers. What else? He had his own program of boxing several times in a year. He he decided he got sick in Venezuela, right? He went through a big surgery, which is a heart surgery, open chest surgery. Then I came over here and he came after, and since then we're here, and that's it. He's been struggling with his sickness. Is not for getting better, but he's every day something else, something else, something else. So here we are.
So, recently, the Trump administration has been posing legal challenges and trying to end the temporary protection status program, although the efforts have been stalled and prolonged by the courts. Has any of that made you worry about losing your right to stay in this country?
Of course, yes, you a lot, because if they definitely cancel this TPS protection, we would be out of status. And you know, you can't live in this country or in no country, I think, without any kind of status. You have to have one to be at least a little legal. And that's the only way we have to be legal here, because I don't know which other way we can get. We can't go for exilio, politica exilio. There's things that everybody, but do this and we can't do it. I mean, to say, I don't know. When you speak to lawyers, they say, no, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. So we are holding on to the TPS and hoping we can get through with it at least for next year to see what decision they could come up to in the Congress with this petition that the Congress's Marianela Salazar put in to see how they can work it out with giving us a kind of, let's say, a kind of status, which is they saying that it's for a resident thing. So I don't know. We're just holding on, hoping that everything just work out as we would like it to, or as I would like it to be.
So, in its actions regarding immigration, the Trump administration has frequently cited worry about unemployment and over immigration and trying to catch criminals who maybe snuck into the country. What do you think of the administration's stated reasons for wanting to end TPS or other such programs?
Look, I really can't say whether it's for criminal or not, because I can't believe that all of a sudden everybody turns to be a criminal and they know where and exactly they are. I can't believe that. I can't understand it. Because if you know or you knew that everybody here were criminals, why did you permit them to stay in this country? You know, according to government, was in their rights to say, look, these people have to leave right away or they cannot come in because they're criminals. All of a sudden now we are all criminals and we just have to leave this country without no reason, without no support, without no explanation. Okay? So I don't know what to say about it. I'm not a criminal. I know I'm not a criminal. Since ever I'm here, I've been working, I've been paying my taxes, and I've been living. So I don't know. I don't know what this is going to end up in.
All right. So one last question then. Do you have any closing comments or statements you'd like to make before we end this interview?
Oh, well, yes, I would like and wish the government kind of help Venezuela with the problem we have there with these people who is in the high power or poder or whatever. I don't know how to explain that part. And hopefully, I would like them to give us a status that we can really do a little more, having this special status to carry on. Because if I get like a resident status, right away the first thing I'll try to do is to get my own place and see how I put on some kind of business to work it out.
Alright, Flora, thanks for your time here to discuss immigration in South Florida. I'm your host, Giancarlo Diago Cevallos, and you've been listening to Stay or Go, exploring how immigration inspires worry and hope in South Florida.